Hey everybody, this week in sessions we focused on advanced BenchPilot setups, including segmented cuts where we cut all the way through for doing long objects, and contour carving, so doing dished bowls, key catches, all that kind of stuff. And did you know you can use plate on BenchPilot? Well, you're going to learn how to today.
If you're watching this on YouTube, this is a live show every other Thursday, 4 o'clock Pacific time. We are live at sessions.shapertools.com. Please come join us. You can ask us questions, win giveaways. We'd love to have you live. The Q&A after the show is pretty good.
Hey, don't forget about me. I also showed up in the sessions around the mid-show break to talk about Studio's newest feature, Radius, and a couple other things.
Enjoy the show.
Enjoy. Hello everyone, and welcome to Shaper Sessions. My name is Jake.
And I'm Sean.
Today, we got one that we've been cooking on for a while. I should say Sean's really been cooking on. We're going to focus on Advanced BP Applications. That's BenchPilot for short.
Yeah, these are going to be not your normal setups, but things people have asked about, things we've talked about, things we haven't shown before. Yep. Some really exciting different applications of how to use BenchPilot Origin with kind of just things that you might not have used yet. So it will be a bit of a more advanced show. And if you need to watch something later, you can always come back and watch it on YouTube. And I know there's a lot to get through, Jake, so
we got to get into it.
We should get into it.
But first, I want to remind everyone this is a totally live show. So please take the opportunity to ask those questions in the chat below. We have Ted in the chat to help with the quick ones. And he's going to save all the juicy ones for us at the end, because we also have Audrey joining us. So if you have any studio questions ruminating, save those ones for the end as well.
Yeah, she'll be joining us for the mid-show break to show some new exciting stuff, and then also for the Q&A after. So if you have studio-specific questions, today would be a great day to get the expert to give you the answers.
Yep. And of course, we're going to do giveaways at the end of the show during the Q&A. So make sure that you answer that poll question that pops up around our mid-show break so that you can think on it. The question is, what is your wildest Origin setup that you have done?
Yeah.
We learn a lot from all of you. So
yeah, there's always interesting stuff that you're doing that we might not even know about. Even today, we're going to show a bunch of different things that we've seen that we haven't even tried sometimes. Yeah. So, all right, you ready?
Let's get after it.
Okay. We're going to go through 3 main areas, and we're going to start the first one now. And this one is about doing large cuts with BenchPilot. So as you know, BenchPilot, a lot of the setups, we utilize Workstation with that larger upgrade kit, so you can kind of cut a nice area and get the height right. But people will say, hey, what if I want to do a huge sign? What if I want to do something bigger than the area? And so we did in the previous BenchPilot one, we did kind of large cuts with BenchPilot, and we showed a couple different ways to do that. Today, though, I want to go into one we didn't go into that show, which is how do you do large cuts that go multiple depths?
Like cut through.
Yeah, cut through your entire shape. You know, let's say you have something large, and you cut through it, and you don't want to do it by hand. No, that's always an option too, but you can take some extra time to set the digital file up so that BenchPilot can do that. Now, we're going to jump over to my computer real quick, and I want to show you the project we're going to talk about today. So these are studio designs. We have a bunch now, 661. Drew Witt, one of our friends, he uploaded a couple guitar necks because he did a guitar video a couple weeks or months ago, and I was pretty excited about this telling neck. So I went ahead and synced it over to my Shaper hub files, and now I'm going to open it in Studio. And what you're going to instantly notice here is that when we go to edit this, this file is 25 inches long, and that's just too wide and too tall for BenchPilot. So what we're going to end up doing is needing to split this into segments that match the size of what BenchPilot can cut. And so when you're on Workstation, maybe if we come back over here to the top cam, or side cam, either one. Yep. So we have a large piece set up here, and we taped it up. We scanned it off of BenchPilot just on our regular table. Then we put it in. And the cool thing about this is because Origin's still using the tape to register it, we can literally just undo this, move it around, And Origin's going to know where those cuts are. It doesn't have to be figured out. The tape is what references it. Now, the space that BenchPilot can cut is really from about here all the way up to here. And that's a little bit bigger than when you have the workstation installed. So we have about an 18-inch wide area. So 18 inches wide this way by 17 to 17 and a half inches wide this way, depending on how you kind of have it set up and how you've assembled it. So a little bit of wiggle room, but you can essentially sim 18 inches wide, 17 inches tall. And so now what we need to do is if we go to Studio, jump back over to here, I'm going to essentially take this file and I'm going to orient it as if we were going to cut it in the same way. And all I really need to do is break this file up into those squares that would match the size of the area that's cuttable. So if I make this width 18 and I make this width 17, that's essentially what BenchPilot can cut at once. And so you can see with this file, we essentially need 2 segments. If we had longer, we'd break it up into 3, 4, 5. I did a very, very long 12-foot long cut not too long ago, and I broke it into as many as I needed to.
Nice.
Now, there is one other element that you need to think about when you're doing this, and that's BenchPilot can only cut what's in this area. And so if BenchPilot was trying to cut this shape, it would start here and kind of come around, and when it comes down to here, it wouldn't be able to drive any further. And if you're cutting multiple depths, you kind of need to break it into little sections. So I'm going to show you how I broke this one into sections. I'm just going to open up a separate file I prepared earlier so we don't have to go through the entire thing. But essentially what I did is I took the file here and I started by putting some little circles that represent the bit diameter that I'm going to intend to cut this with. So these are 1/4-inch cuts, and I just put some around it so that I could kind of make sure the bit would fit when I do this. And what I did is I took the draw tool and I just made kind of a rough outline of this shape and went all the way around and made a second shape. And so the idea here is that I'm going to essentially end up cutting this whole inside area, even though I don't care about the outside. It needs to be able to go back and forth inside of the bigger rectangle. And so you can see here, we would kind of come back around, cut this, come back around, and do it until we get to our final depth. And so once we do that, we can move the whole setup and then cut the next one. And so I've already cut the bottom one here, and I'll show you, we're going to cut the top one in just a second, but I wanted to just quickly show you one small detail here. You need to overlap these just a little bit. So I have this one and this one. Those represent the size of my area that I can cut, and you can see how I've overlapped them. So when I go to shape shift this to cut the shapes, essentially what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to select everything, and then I'm going to shape shift 2 times. And so I'm going to grab everything in the top box. So I'm going to grab this one, this one, this one, and then all the holes. And that's going to end up being one of the sections. So the only thing you need to make sure is that you're keeping existing shapes in the bottom, because we're going to need to do this again. So there's one file, right? And if we go to plan mode, you'll see if I change that to an inside cut and give it 1/4 of an inch, you can see now BenchPilot can cut this whole area back and forth. We're losing a little bit of material just on the outside, but I don't really care because I don't have to do it by hand anymore. And then we just need to do the same with the bottom. So I'm going to go back to design mode, and I'm going to select all of these again. And I'm just going to select these 3 things here, this, and this. So that's the entire bottom part. And I can keep existing shapes too, just so I have them if I need them later. And now I'll just select this top part. I can click this little manage selection button. If you don't know about this manage selection button, it's pretty sweet.
Oh, it's
kind of
huge.
gives you an outline of what you're seeing. And yep, I got the top and the bottom correct. And so essentially this is now my file. And if we go to plan mode, we'll just kind of zoom in on this so you don't have to worry about the parts we made from it. If I make those both inside cuts, and I change the bit diameter 1/4 an inch, I get a good preview of what BenchPilot's going to do. It's going to cut this section first with all these little holes, and then I'm going to cut this section second, or vice versa. You can kind of do whatever order you want. So let's jump over to the real world now and talk about what we've done. So we've already cut the bottom part, just so you don't have to sit through the whole thing. I essentially dragged Origin down to the bottom to figure out where the range of BenchPilot could go to. So if you drag this down, you can kind of look inside of the bit, and you can say, okay, will the bit fit on the material when I'm at the far end? And then you can move it back all the way up and make sure it can cut to the top. And then you hit go, and it's just going to kind of clear that whole area. Now, once that's complete, undo your clamps and pull it down, and you're going to kind of do the same thing because you need to basically overlap that area and also be able to cut to the top. So you can just kind of move it around roughly and then pull origin down to just check that the top and the bottom are still cuttable. I normally like to zoom in just to get a good view of like where the bit is. And as long as it's in the range,
Come up a little bit. There we go.
okay, now, Jake, I didn't
Think about clamping.
think about clamping. So we could throw some double-sided tape under it real quick, just roughly in the right area so it doesn't move. Or we could even maybe make it a little bit further out so the origin doesn't go all the way to the back, and then it would actually be able to clear the clamps. Kind of either way.
Or we could put it along the side,
Or you could put it on the side. Yeah, true.
right?
Yep.
We'll do that.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Look at that.
Well, that's way better. Okay, so I'm just going to take these clamps here, throw them under our jig. Now, one thing that you may be asking me is, Sean, do you need to, how do you get your material to the right spot? Because I did skip that a little bit. And one of the things that you essentially need to do is get your material up to a 1/4 inch roughly area of where origin's going to sit. And so here we have this kind of platform that's lifted up, and then our material's on top of that. There's about a 1/4 inch of float where origin can actually move. If we maybe go to that side cam, you can see origin can kind of float in these little areas here by about a 1/4 inch. So we have a little bit of wiggle room for, you know, height, but you will have to kind of come up with some way to stack material to get it in the right spot.
Yeah, have a sheet of 1/2 inch or 1/8 inch ply just to kind of get you in the range.
Totally. I'm going to stick a little bit of double-sided tape into the bottom just so we don't get any
Just in
wiggle
case.
in the other
got
direction. Okay. All right. So now all we got to do is select that other section, hit go.
And it's already selected.
Okay. Well, let it rip.
All right.
Double check your settings. You can see here. Actually, we should just go over this for a second. You can see here if we go back to our passes. Oh yeah, settings were incorrect.
That would be
Would be
quick.
a heavy cut. We definitely want to make sure we're doing depth passes and a roughing and finishing pass on this. I would just do, you know, if we have a 1/2 inch bit, we're going 1/4 inch, I would do 2 depth passes followed by a finish offset, and that'll be good. And the beauty of setting taking the time to set this up where it can do it in sections is you can cut to whatever depth you want.
Yeah.
If you didn't, and you were only cutting like a little small cut, you could do it without breaking the file up because origin will cut as far as it can, and then it will retract, and you'll have a resume point. But if you need to cut a whole area, multiple depths, you kind of have to set it up this way. So let's go.
All right.
All right, so you can see here it's going to start by cutting inside cuts first. Now it's a little confusing because that outside cut that we would normally cut is an inside cut now because we joined that shape and kind of connected it. You can see there, that's where it's overlapping the cuts. So we're going to get a nice clean overlap. You're always going to want to overlap a little bit or you won't fully cut through your material. So we got about 4 to 5 minutes here cutting this. I'm going to grab my laptop, Jake, and see what we got real quick.
All right.
Yeah, so you can see it's just going to go and kind of clear all that, and this is one of the beauties of setting this up. Now, imagine there were a lot more cuts. Every section could run for an hour, you know, if we wanted it to. It doesn't, you don't need to babysit it. You don't have to do it manually. It's like, if it took an hour to cut this section, you could just let it go, and when you came back, that section would be done. Move it down. I'm sure there's even a bunch of, I think we're getting a bit slip. You hear that noise? That's a good indicator of a bit slip.
It's like all of a sudden the tone of that cut got a lot deeper.
Well, hey, this is, why we're doing it live.
It's one way to
So if you are getting a single bit slip, it could just be a factor of, you're taking too big of a pass, too heavy of a cut, or you didn't really have it tightened down, or the bit's really dull, or your collet's worn out. Collets do wear out over time, and they won't grip as hard as they do in the beginning. It's pretty important to try to tighten it about the same amount every time. If you're a person that really likes to tighten them hard, make sure you tighten it the same hardness every time. If you're a person who does it lightly, do it lightly every time. Shared chops, shared collets can have some issues.
You said it.
Okay. Jake's going to get that set up, and we'll get back to cutting that. What we did previously has nothing to do with bit slips, just to be clear. But while Jake's doing that, I did want to talk about one other thing. We're talking about these advanced BenchPilot applications. We got a user-submitted image, and I'm going to pull it up in just a second and show you. That is really cool. Essentially, this user really likes cutting big projects with BenchPilot, especially in these little sections. And I wanted to show you two pictures that they sent us, and it might give you some ideas. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to make this as big as possible so everybody gets a good view.
This is so
cool. Okay, so there's one, and then this is the other one. Okay, great. So we'll talk about this while we're finishing that cut up. So this is a BenchPilot that has been modified to cut very large things all the time. And you can see they kind of come up with their own jig to raise the surface properly, which is a really simple method of just using it's kind of an interesting little simple jig here that just raises it up in a nice way. You could imagine having different thicknesses and different little pieces that go through it. And the important part of this is, if you look at this file, they're cutting stair stringers in this hardwood. But check this out. They've removed the crossbars and made their own little jig so that even thicker material can go under it. I mean, with this kind of setup, you could have infinitely thick material that would work because this could just get higher, and then you could put as big of a piece under it as you wanted. So the real trick here is making sure that this runs kind of parallel to your material. But I thought it's just such a rad little project here, and you can see they even have the old frame hanging in the back of the shop there. So you can always put it back on. It's kind of one of those things. Do whatever you like. You know? So that's a cool one. I thought it was worth sharing and a cool little technique.
excellent. How much time?
All right, how we doing? 3 minutes. Should we let them watch, or should we just
Now it's into it. It's finished pass.
There we go. So this is one of the beauties of breaking it too. You can do the roughing and the finishing pass in one go. If you're doing it the other way, where you have like something very long and you're cutting a single depth, you either have to move it point to point and change it a lot every time it gets to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do a roughing and a finishing, you'd have to move it backwards and restart it. So it's kind of painful, I'd say. This is a much easier, more hands-off method. And really, honestly, pretty easy to do in studio.
You just use the draw tool.
Just the draw tool to kind of give us a close envelope.
Yeah. Didn't have to be perfect.
No. And it could be as long as you wanted. You just need to break up those segments like we mentioned earlier.
It could even just be a rectangle.
It could totally be just a rectangle.
Right.
Yep. It just means you're going to cut through material that's away from it,
Right.
And so like ideally you're removing as little material as possible, which is why I kind of put those little circles near it so we could just clear it. And then the nice thing about having it close is when you're doing your roughing pass on the other side, that material is already cleaned out. So
Nice.
you're not removing double material.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so here it is, drilling all those little holes for the other parts. It's just so nice to, like, you know, not have to babysit it. You know, it runs. You come back when it's done, move it, cut the next section. And you only have to move it for every section once if you do it properly.
Yep.
You know.
And depending on the complexity of it, a few minutes per section.
Yeah, I mean, imagine it was an hour and 20 minutes engraving for every section, you know. You just move it 3 times and you're done.
This is exactly what long signs really needed. Right?
Yeah, and I would say, like, for those, we would just want to essentially start at the bottom and work our way up. That way, any tape you cut through is kind of at the bottom side. Okay. Boom. Let's show it on camera. And hopefully that solves some people's problems. If you're having problems figuring out how to make this work, I did post a couple of kind of solutions on the forum as well for people, so that you can check those out. Okay. Typically, when you're doing these advanced BenchPilot projects, you're going to have to move this off of BenchPilot, so having a little spot to put origin when you're not using it. Yeah, look at that overhead. Boom. Very nice. So, pretty good. Winner.
Winner.
All right, Jake, we still need that, so put it back. Rotate it 180 degrees, though, because we're going to use the other side. Yeah. Okay, so let's put maybe... We can put a little more tape under the bottom there, maybe, and I'll get us set up with the next thing. Okay, and we'll put one clamp at the top. How about that? Wherever our clamp went. Okay.
I got excited.
So that's large area cuts with multiple depths. Any questions, Jake?
That's a game changer.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's pretty rad. It really, yeah, something else.
Changes the game.
Yeah, well, I was going to try to think of a better one, but I could not.
Raises the playing field?
Oh, if you would have turned that into a wood pun, that would have been pretty good.
Raises the grain.
Raise the grain, yeah. All right, moving forward to number 2. And this is quite a fan favorite. You know, and this one's, I mean, like I said earlier, these are all kind of advanced topics. So, you know, if you're thinking, wow, this seems complicated or a lot, it is a little bit more than normal. But we would like to see people grow into these areas. And this next topic is one that is very awesome. So we see a lot of people on Origin and BenchPilot asking, can we do 3D carving? Can we do contour cuts? All these kind of questions. Now, in general, BenchPilot is not built to hold Origin perfectly in the air so you can be, you know, raising off material, floating perfectly, and cut things perfectly flat. It works just like Origin. You should always have the base supported. Obviously, it's going to do a good job of supporting it, but there will be some kind of movement. So if you're trying to do these kind of 3D contour carving cuts, you should be supported on the bottom. Now, last week we went over something, and I'm going to pull this up real quick. Let me pull this file up. And we got a lot of back and forth on the computer today. This is a setup that our friend Keith Johnson kind of developed and shows in his videos. He's cutting brass that is supported by a piece of MDF, and the brass is lower than the MDF. And so this is great because that means Origin's base is always supported around it, and you can cut with accurate depth below it. Now, obviously, there's only so big of a space you can cut before Origin will fall in there, and that's where something else comes in. We had a community member build something, and let's go back to the computer in just a second, called, I got too many tabs for this one. It's called the Zed Sled.
I like the title of this too.
Yeah, and I did. There's a name, there's a reason for it in a second, but this is a Zed Sled created by Andrew. It's essentially a planing jig that uses tape and a floating kind of base for Origin to float over, so you can kind of cut. And this is, you know, you can build your own, you can attach it to Workstation. There's a whole video. There's a lot of cool stuff. All the files are here. There's also a community page that talks about a lot of it. Zed Sled is catchy, but it's short for Z-axis stabilization sled for shape or origin, not close to catchy. There's a lot of info in the forum. You can check this out, build your own, etc. And essentially what this does is for big areas, it keeps origin flat.
Yeah, supports it.
When we were building BenchPilot, we kind of designed features in there to allow that to happen. And maybe since we didn't set it up in the first place, I probably should have done that in the last one. Let's do that now. So there's 2 screws on the side of the sled. And if you undo those, maybe if we go to that side camera, this one here and the other one, these are kind of alignment features that allow origin to float in this, I think it's about 1/4 inch. So now if you kind of raise and lower origin, you'll see there is some movement there. And that's to help us do kind of interesting things, but also to allow things like the Zed Sled to work. And this is really great because if you need to cut a big area, you can just do that. It will allow it. Okay. Now, if we come back to the computer, you'll see this is a interesting bowl, and it was created with the Zed Sled. And if you look at this profile, he cuts the top and the bottom using this with a big file that does contour cuts. And essentially, it does a bunch of different passes at different depths, and then you kind of sand out the differences, and then you get this beautiful kind of 3D object. Okay, so that's the basics of kind of contour carving. And well, I wanted to show you kind of how to do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so now before
Love
I
it.
start this, we have to put a little disclaimer on the screen somewhere, maybe. This is definitely in an advanced section. I'm going to try to do as simple of an explanation as I can. And we're going to do one of the simplest projects I can think that would still be useful. I'll try to make some final files for people that would want to use this later, but we're just going to do it from kind of top to bottom, okay? So,
And it should be known,
yeah,
you're going to use only free software.
that's right. Only free software, and I tried to pick the simplest software. We are going into 3D land here, so brace yourself, and let's jump into the computer. All right? So, this is a website called Tinkercad. It's a very, very simple 3D website. I do like it for, prototyping and building stuff. I'm just going to build a very quick dished out material. So like if you had maybe a cabinet and you wanted a little spot for your keys to live in, we could make an area that the keys would just sit in.
Built-in catch-all.
We'll use BenchPilot to kind of cut a bunch of different paths with different depths, with different offsets to just fit your keys or coins or whatever you want in there, okay?
Love it.
Obviously, this can go all sorts of ways, and we'll show you some crazy ones we've done. One of our designers, Josh, has made some insane projects that he also uploaded to Shaper Hub, so we'll go over those after we start to cut. Okay, so we're going to start here. I'm just going to start by making a surface that's a rectangle and drag that out. Now, you don't need to know how to do all this stuff. I just want to show kind of the basics of it. Okay, so we have a 3D box, and I'm also going to grab this sphere. Now, this sphere is special because it's going to build us a hole. Okay, now I'm going to squash it and make it a little long here, a little wider. And now we have this kind of floating sphere that's squashed above the surface, and I'm just going to drag it into our material a little bit, okay? So now, if we look at this, we have essentially a sphere cut out of a piece of material. That would be our little dish, okay? The last thing we got to do, select everything, and there's a little button up here that says Unite, or Union. If I click that, now we get that space with just a dished out view. Okay, that's it. That's the only 3D we're doing here. No more.
That was amazing.
Couple clicks. I really did work on getting it down to like minimal clicks. Okay. All right. So now we need to export that file. Okay. So when you're working with these kind of contour carve files, you're always going to probably need an STL file. This is kind of, there's a lot more, but let's just take STL. It's pretty easy to use, and a lot of places use it. So we're going to download that model from here, and it'll download, and boom, now we got it, okay? Now, step 2, we're going to a website called Kirimoto, okay? This is an open source slicer mainly built for essentially making 3D models and giving them to a 3D printer. But we're going to hack it, and there's been some support added for doing these contoured shapes over time. So let's jump into that. Okay, so first step, we're going to open this up, File, Import, and we're just going to import that file we just downloaded. So let me just make sure it's the right one. Date added. Okay, I think it was this one with the 1. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to open that. It's going to come in. It's the same thing. We got 3D object, okay? Now, there's I'm going to say this UI is not as simple as some of the Shaper UI, but follow me here. Step 1, go to mode. We're going to change the laser mode. I know it seems a little confusing while we're doing laser mode, but you'll see in a second. 2 is we're going to go over to the slice button here. And essentially what this is going to do is going to take our 3D object and go from top to bottom and slice it at layers, and then it's going to find all the positives, okay? And so you can kind of see we have it's kind of hard to see at the moment, but you'll see in just a second. Our dish is here, and right now it has 1 layer slice because we have this button clicked, single slice. We don't want that. We want multiple slices, so we're going to unclick that. This is in millimeters, and so when you're thinking about doing these contour cuts, the smaller the number, the smoother the result you get.
The less sanding you have to do.
The less sanding, yeah. I mean, Jake loves sanding, though, so
I do.
we could do 0.5 millimeter for Jake.
It's amazing.
Also, it'll speed up the demo, but you can just change that number to anything you want. Now, anytime you change any of these values, the website does not update. You must change the view and go back, and then it'll update.
Hey, look at that.
Okay? So now you can see it took our little layers and it sliced it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 areas. Okay? So that's essentially going to be 6 cuts, and it's going to know the depth. Okay? So last thing we need to do over here, make sure all this looks good. We need to click 3D stack. And you'll notice once we click 3D stack, it moves up the screen. And then this other button that should be unclicked called Shaper Tool comes up.
Suspicious.
Should say Shaper Tools. But it says Shaper Tool. Click that. And now that will export with the depth of each of these files as encoded depths in the file. Okay? So this is maybe a little bit much. Just bear with me.
It's a bit much, but that outcome is awesome.
Yeah, so all we got to do now is click the export button. Let's just name it Sessions Dish. And I want to download an SVG because it exports SVG.
Wow.
Okay, if we go to Shaper Studio, whoop, that's coming up soon. If we go to Shaper Studio, not Sessions, we're in Sessions. If we go to Shaper Studio, make a new document. All we have to do is File, Import from our computer, select the Sessions Dish SVG, and it's going to import, okay? Now, keynote, we don't want one object. We don't want it all together. We want exploded 46 objects. That's good. If we click that, we'll see our dish show up and all the outside. Now, if you were doing this better than I, you wouldn't have the outside file. You'd only have the inside, but I can just delete all these real quick. Yeah. And then we just have our dish, okay? Now, if I go into plan mode and I hover these shapes, you're going to see the depth changes when I go to them. So right now, it's a pretty shallow dish. It's only 0.1 inches, but so we'd probably want to modify it if we were doing this for real. But for demo purposes, we'll get the point. And currently, they're all set to online. We did a couple tests if online or inside mattered. I don't know if it did. You need to test some more with yourself, but we'll just leave it online for now. And we're ready to cut. I'll just name this for you so you can import it.
I don't know if it helps you, but I'm going to use the 16 millimeter cutter.
Ooh, nice.
Curveball.
Okay, I like it. Now, obviously, if you use Origin to cut this with a bit that's doesn't have a ball nose bit, when it goes to cut those layers, you're going to get heavy steps. You can sand it off. You can use a gouge to cut into it. There's a bunch of different ways to do this.
Curve scraper.
Curve scraper if you're Jake.
It's the
or
fastest way.
You can put a ball nose bit in. We did that.
Let me ask you this. If I put a ball nose bit in, like a big radius bit, is it going to leave little cusps in between?
Well, I did some testing. We can show you after this.
All right. Well, we'll start with the 16 millimeter then.
I didn't quite figure out the ball nose bits. I'm sure someone with more computer savvy would know exactly how far to offset it based on some radius of the bit. But I don't mind a little hand gouging. Like, you know, it's nice because it gives you a really nice profile, and then you can work your way into it. But even like grabbing a Rotex and just sanding it, pretty sweet. Okay,
All right.
so there it is. And
So tiny.
yeah, just scale it up.
All right.
I mean, this is the beauty of Origin, right? We can just scale it up. I don't know how it's going to affect it, but, you know, it's going to get bigger but not deeper.
3 inches?
Yeah, whatever you like.
Let's do 4 inches.
All right, so we place that, and now hover those shapes and make sure we're going to, a little too big.
No, it's not. It's 0.108.
Oh, yeah.
got
Looks
0.089.
pretty good. I say send it, Jake.
We're going to have a little island in the
Hey,
middle.
we got to send it pretty soon because we're 40 minutes in. We haven't even done the break.
Sending it.
Okay. Now, one thing I like to do with this is, double check your settings. And some of this ends up being a optimization technique of like, how deep are you cutting? You know, on lines versus insides versus outsides are going to change the direction of the bit. So you might get more tear out one way than the other. There's a bunch of little details. And I wanted to, while we're here, it'd be fun to show it on screen. But actually, let's just wait. We'll do it live because this isn't going to take too long. But you can see basically the depth changes every time we go to cut the next line because that data that got exported out is assigned to the encoded depth of the shape. And so right now you can see we're at 0.49 inches. And then when we go to the next one, we're at 0.69. So this is a shallow cut, obviously. And if we were doing deeper, you'd want to do multiple passes. Yeah, it's just like to prove out the point and explain in a simple way how this can work. But it's pretty sweet. I did a little dish in a cabinet the other year, the other year ago when we were working on BenchPilot.
Yeah.
And yeah, it turned out great. It's like such a nice little way to do it because it's kind of like, other than winging it with a gouge and getting close, there's really no other easy way to do it. All right, let's see if we can get in there. We might have to pull it up so people can see too.
I'm going to buzz this island.
You don't like chisels?
Oh. What's a chisel?
Yeah.
You're using it wrong.
Tell me that's wrong, Jake. Boom.
Perfect.
All right, so can we see this on the side camera or should we pull it up? Let's pull it up. Let's pull it closer so you can see. All right. Put this over here, and then Jake can kind of give you a good view of what we're looking at. Yeah, nice. So you can see the edges, and obviously, if you want that look, you can leave it. But if you want a smoother look, a little sandpaper, a little Rotex action, a little elbow grease.
Yeah.
So that's the basics of 3D contouring and like a really simple workflow. I really do like the Kirimoto. I think someone also develop some Rhino extension to go through the layers and slice your object and find where the intersections are. But it's a pretty simple way to go about it with Kirimoto. You should check it out. It's never steered me wrong. Okay, before we go though to the break, we're pretty close. I wanted to talk quickly about that sick project Josh did, and it's right here. So. Jake, maybe you can bring it over to the camera and give the demo. This is a contoured object that our designer Josh made, I don't know, I guess a year or two ago. We were working on BenchPilot, and check it out. Oh, yeah. He built it for his engagement, and, we developed some processes around this. We actually even found Show them this one, Jake. We even found the pre-sanded version to show you the process. It's a double-sided flip cut. So you cut half on one side, flip it, cut half on the other, and then you engrave the line that you then cut on the saw. So you get A, a perfect grain match, and then B, you just kind of bust those edges down. Now, if you do thinner layer slice height, you don't have to sand as much, but obviously it takes longer. So there's kind of a trade-off of like how much hand sanding versus how much time on BenchPilot. Pretty rad.
Super rad.
He also uploaded project to ShaperHub if you want to give it a go.
You put this on ShaperHub?
Yeah, he did.
That's very cool.
So it's if you go to ShaperHub and then into Studio Designs up at the top here, we can come back over. Oh, it might help if I plug my computer in. There we go. Okay, so Studio Designs, and then sort by most recent. And then boom, here's the Ringbox file right there. So you can open that in Studio, and you'll have access to the contours, as well as the engravings, as well as the inside cuts for both pieces.
That's so cool.
Pretty awesome, pretty epic. Yeah, it was quite the undertaking. So that's like a pretty advanced contour carved one. But I thought this one was cool too. Look at this one. Boom. So this is essentially a cutting board that he also did similarly, just kind of pocketing out all this area, and you get these nice legs. You want to show that in a little detail cam? Very nice. He also did this one. I mean, Josh kind of got a little carried away with these. It was pretty epic, actually. These three files are also on ShaperHub now, so if you want to give some contour carving a try, you can do that. And then this one was one that we've had up forever. It's like a really cool little bowl. I mean, I didn't even like finishing that one. I love seeing all the little ridges. You know?
Yeah, it feels appropriate.
It does. Yeah. Okay.
This is Andy?
That was Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our other coworkers on the European side. All right, so that's it. The files are up there, and you can take a look, and that's what we got on contour carving. Now, you'll notice we didn't use the Zed Sled for that setup. This file was pretty small, but if you really wanted to keep the right Z height, you would want something that would help you do that to keep it right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're only 47 minutes in, and it's time for the mid-show break.
Crushing it.
All right, so that poll is going to go up on your screen now. And because we were working with wild setups on Origin, we thought we might ask you, what is the wildest setup you've ever used Origin with?
Yeah. Like the photo you showed earlier, wild setup.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Super cool.
And you may say, you know what? The Workstation's my wildest setup.
And that's okay.
Or plate. Or I made my own plate. Or whatever. Let us know. We'd love to hear it. If it might just be Shaper Tape's the wildest setup. You know?
I mean, you can do a lot with Shaper Tape.
You can do a ton. And I wanted to let Jake announce something that just is happening now.
Oh, my favorite time of year. Contest time. We are in the midst of our Inlay challenge. So if you want a chance to win a pretty awesome couple set of prizes, first place is $1,000 for the Shaper Store. Second place is $500.
Yeah, wow.
And third place is $200. So,
yep, there it is. 1,000, 500, 200. So, yeah. I mean, all you got to do, post a project to ShaperHub showing the Inlay challenge. Make sure that's in the project description. I'll show you that in a second, how to put that in.
Very important.
And add a minimum of 3 photos and or videos. You are not required to use Shaper Studio for a project, but in just a minute, I might convince you to do it. And then all projects must be posted May 29th, 5 p.m. Will be reviewed and voted on by the Shaper staff.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, maybe we'll be on
I didn't even know.
Panel.
I get to be a panel?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm going to put that on my resume. I'm a judge.
So this is all kicked off because we just had a very awesome addition to Studio, the Radius feature. And to join us today to tell us all about it is Audrey.
Bum, ba, ba. Come on in.
Okay. That was as graceful as I could be.
They don't roll that well back here.
Once we hit the foam.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, I'm so excited about being here just to talk about Radius. So I think I actually made a little design in this account. So let me try to pull that up for you so we can talk about it, and I can be showing you stuff in here.
This has been a feature that we've had like top of our list for a
I
long
think
time.
we've had it. All of the studio users out there have had it.
I've never asked for it.
Oh yeah.
The squeakiest wheel.
And turns out it's a little bit tricky to do. So the feature itself is actually really simple and super easy to use, but there's a lot of engineering that went
Yeah,
behind
we
it.
hide the software from you, but you get to experience all the goodness.
We try to keep the software super simple. So I was just gonna show you real quick. I put this together just to show you, and I made duplicate shapes in here so you can see the original shape I was working with and the radius shape. Same here with this text. And text, I think, is the thing that I'm like the most excited about, because I hear that all the time, like, oh, I have Origin. I want to inlay this like sign or this cutting board with a piece of text because you're customizing it for somebody. How do I do that?
Yeah,
and it's always been a little bit difficult.
It's like, go learn this whole other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, inlaid wood text, pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to demo that real quick. So you just place your text. You might want to make sure it's the size you want it to be. And then all you have to do when you're applying a radius is hit this radius button and type the radius that you want. Remember, radius, half the size.
Key factor.
The size of your bit.
Yeah, so when you're inlaying, you're probably using a pretty small bit. If you're using a 16th inch bit, then actually your radius would be 1/32. And then it's subtle, but it's there.
Boom.
It's radiused. The zoom on this is opposite the zoom on my computer. So that's,
Yeah, well, I'm an unnatural zoomer.
yeah. Thanks, Sean. And then this was just to show, also radius should work on things from Find Art, which is pretty exciting. Not everything. So, there's some limitations. Also, this is early days. So if you find things that don't work out for you, let us know.
How do they let us know, Audrey?
Yeah, we've got over here in the help menu in Studio, there is a submit feedback button. You can say, if you really love it, say other and say I love it, and I'll be very excited.
We need a new button. Appreciation. That's the category.
But if if it's a bug, let us know that way. And what you can do is in here agree to share your file with us, because then I get a copy, and that makes it easier for me to understand what the issue is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know, did you notice there's like this little indicator over here?
Something's new.
Updates. Wait, there's also something else that's new in Studio today?
Oh, wow. Well, Studio, it's getting better basically every week.
Yeah. So actually we launched Radius last week, and we have a small update to Studio this week because we're always making it better. Linear rectangles is a new template that you can get here in the Make Shape menu. And that's just going to let you make a pattern of rectangles. So like if you're, oh my God, this zooming is really, that's fine. If you're going to make some like custom vent registers, like we get that as a request a lot, you could, reduce the spacing, make them taller, add more, and then also use that new radius feature and go.
Oh, yeah.
Last but not least, we fixed that bug that you guys have had on sessions a couple times where you got to toggle that Origin anchor. So now you'll see it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so if you've used Origin to export your workspace into Studio, sometimes you might notice when you try to bring it back, it doesn't have the anchor. Well, look at this.
Yes. Now it's more top level, a little easier to find, but also we've cleaned it up a little bit. So you should have more smooth round tripping between Origin and Studio.
Nice.
Very nice.
All good stuff.
Wow.
Thank you, Audrey.
You should join every week, Audrey.
That would be a lot of traveling for me.
Audrey is visiting us today. So we were happy to have her here, and we are very happy to see Radius in studio.
Yeah.
And linear rectangles.
Yes.
Yeah, and anything else you asked for. That's not true. But do let us know. Do let us know when you have future requests. Also, I'm sticking around. I'll be back for the Q&A. So if you have questions for me about Studio, in addition to the questions about all the awesome setups, put them in the chat, and then I'll be back in a little bit.
All right.
Nice. All right, on the spot question. What was the last thing that you inlaid?
I don't know. I feel like I was testing out the test feature, so probably like Gizmo's name or something.
Yeah.
My cat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
What's the last thing you inlaid?
That was just a guitar neck.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Guitar neck. Nice. Okay. I don't know what I haven't really inlaid anything lately.
Yeah.
Not ringing a bell.
Made a welcome sign too.
Yeah, Jake is kind of the inlay king around here.
I mean,
Well, you'll have a bunch of great inspiration from the challenge.
yeah,
Yes.
there's some incredible stuff already on there.
No, we didn't even show. We didn't show what's been up there. So maybe we just I pulled this up so we can see. Oh, I got a bunch of tabs. Hold on, it's just
Very
a second.
crucial that you put the hashtag inlay-challenge because then it puts it all in the same place and you can see everyone's work.
Yeah. So if you go to Shaper Hub here, you'll see this kind of top layer right here. Community contests inlay. These are kind of some examples. But if you hit View All, you'll see everything people have submitted so far. We got some animals. We got some. What is that?
I think it's a lighthouse.
A lighthouse and a compass. Look at this.
This marquetry was really
This
pretty.
marquetry, Mount Hood. I mean, look at that. Also, this is a good time to plug. If you want to do the inlay with like thin veneer, we did a great video with Ramon
Yeah,
years ago that talks about how to do inlay with veneer. You should check that out on his YouTube channel. We also have that. This was one of the projects we did here, and it's all about veneer's a little harder to work with, especially with Origin. So he's got some tips and tricks in there.
Yeah, you
Nah,
guys did
once you have the
sessions on
tips and
that.
tricks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we
Jeez.
did a whole session on that.
Yeah.
Years ago.
No, like this year. I feel like you guys
Did we? Well, all right.
All right.
somewhere.
All right. Well, I think that's it for now. Audrey is gonna scooch off, and we're gonna get back to this so we can get
Oh my gosh.
to Q&A earlier.
So we got some good
and
giveaways.
Finish it out.
Thank you, Audrey.
Bye, Audrey. See you in a minute.
All right.
Also, if you have hard questions for her, today's the day. You know,
Yeah.
we can put her on the spot.
Curveballs. Can
All
I
right.
get rid of this?
Let me just quickly get my brain back together. Yes, do get rid of that. Now, I thought I might show this real quick because I did this. Russ built this jig years ago, or a year ago maybe. And when I put that big slab on there, it was kind of tilty. So I took the file from the Shaper Hub and I drilled holes in it, and I removed the support bracket from our Workstation upgrade kit, and it's a little tight.
Snug.
Yeah. And I just put it on the bottom so I could have some support, and maybe just flip that upside down so people can see it. Boom! Look at that. Such a sweet little jig.
That was smart.
And then we need the big thick one.
Big, thick one. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So back to the broadcast. Last section. This one's called Random Setups. And I just thought it would be pretty fun to show you. Yeah, this is the side we want. This is a very big piece of ash. Pretty heavy, too, honestly.
Not like
It's about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. And that's about the max you can put if you don't remove the crossbars. And so I just milled it to as thick as possible. And, one of the things that's great about Origin is, being able to see on the screen. You can kind of put things where you want. Obviously, if you've watched sessions for a while, you know what you put on the screen is close, but maybe not perfect. Well, we had a huge, maybe if we go to the top camera, we had a huge crack down the slab, and I had some very specific bow ties I wanted to put in it. And instead of trying to, use Origin to make a grid and then place a file, then make another grid, place a file, I thought, you know what, this is one of the one of the exciting BenchPilot applications I wanted to show, which is BenchPilot and plate. So, as I mentioned, plate can live under BenchPilot and essentially utilize the tape like that. And if you've used plate before, you know it's great for aligning the pencil marks. If we come down to this top camera, we can essentially pull this reticle down. You can see where I've put all these marks here, and I can just kind of quickly align this exactly where I need it. Remove this, and when I bring origin over, let's just make sure there. So now we have our file here, and yeah, I just had kind of a simple pill that I wanted to cut, and a bunch of them at different angles, and so it's already all set up. All you have to do is clip into BenchPilot and hit go. I mean, we need a Z-touch too, Jake.
You need a Z-touch, you need to change the bit.
Yep.
You need to probably adjust this, or maybe not.
Yes.
Actually.
Okay, so this is great. So if you change the height of where origin sits, you need to always adjust these two things. That's very critical because sometimes you're going to feel it won't even go in, okay? And that means your heights change. And anytime the height of origin changes where it sits, you need to kind of reset it, okay?
Okay, we're locked in.
Yep. So once you're locked in, then you just tighten them both down. Now, if it's not going in well, you can either try clamping it from the top or putting it down from the top. And depending on if it's going higher or lower, it can have a little bit of an issue. But once you're in,
I'm having a little issue.
oh yeah, you want me to try that, Jakey?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so if you're having trouble getting it in, you can just kind of grab it. Maybe if we go to the top camera or a side camera, I grab this and I push it. If it doesn't go in, that's fine. Now what I do is kind of pick this up and I jiggle these, kind of lift them up. And if you just lift them, now we're in.
Perfect.
Okay? So you might have to pull them up or kind of put origin in it. It's just kind of the nature of it, raising and lowering. It won't always go in. But we do have a 1/4 inch of adjustment, which is great. And you just lift those up, slide it in, and tighten them down. Now, if we change it again, we're going to change that again. This is kind of the nature of these kind of weird setups. Okay.
It helps too to not loosen them too much.
Yeah, just loosen them to where they slide up and down. That's really all you need to think about. And the beauty of this is, you know, obviously we could put tape on it, but if I wanted to be perfect, if it was like I was aligning with grain, like it's so much easier to do that with plate. We can run a cut, move BenchPilot, or take origin off, replace plate again, hit go again. All right, so we can just do a 1/4 inch cut, Jake. It doesn't need to be crazy.
Easy.
Yep.
1/4 inch.
Make sure our settings are correct.
0 inch offset, 2 passes, roughing and finish.
Send it.
Preview.
Okay, so, you know, they are shortcuts, and you could do that by the hand, but when you do things by hand, sometimes you make mistakes. BenchPilot is kind of a zero mistakes kind of guy.
Oh, yeah?
You know?
That's true. And, of course,
At least this one is named Jake, and that's a zero mistakes kind of guy. All right, so that one's done. So now we're just going to move origin off to the side for a second because we need an area to put it, and then Jake's going to just basically move that to the next part. Remove vertical. Clip origin back in. And hit go. And so, you know, BenchPilot doesn't need Workstation. It just needs tape. That's kind of the whole nature of this show, I think, which is important. You know, obviously it was designed with Workstation to be very simple and easy to use, but you don't have to use it with Workstation. And when you take Workstation off, you get a bigger cut area, and you get the ability to kind of do custom setups.
Yeah.
So that's plate on BenchPilot.
That is really cool. Super cool.
All right. And I just like to place origin by the side because it's too hard to move plate when it's on there. That grippy stuff is super nice. So now we have perfectly aligned things. We didn't have to mess with software. It's a shortcut, but there's no mistakes. And that's plate on BenchPilot. All right?
Nice.
We got a couple more, and then I'm getting the note. We got to wrap it up.
Okay.
I didn't get a note. I just made the note for us.
You felt the note.
Yeah, I felt the note. Okay. The last thing we need to do, we're going to put Workstation back in this. I'm going to show you a couple little cool things with Workstation.
Let me ask you this.
Actually, before we put Workstation, we'll do this one. Okay, so this is... Oh, yeah, go ahead, Jake. I'll wait a second. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to ask you, do you have the screws handy?
Yes, I do. They're right there.
Nice.
But actually, I forgot. We're going to do one other setup before we put the Workstation back on. Okay, so this is a little box I made. Let's bring it over here. It's just a little cute heart box. You may have seen it. We did a heart template back at Valentine's Day in studio. So I made this little box, and I cut it out, and I was really happy with it, but I forgot to sign it. And I was thinking, man, it'd be nice to sign. And I made a bunch of them, so I was wanting to sign in the same spot. So you've probably seen this before, but I basically built a jig that holds one heart upside down. Nice and tight.
Perfect.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
So good.
Now, this is also planed to the correct height that we could put, we would, want to clamp it down properly. But if we put Origin back in, Origin's going to recognize this workspace. If we go to the Origin cam. And essentially, I have one workspace set up with one hole, then everything's ready to go. So I can take all 9 of the heart boxes I made, flip them upside down, have it engraved, my signature on it, plop the next one out, hit go, plop the next one out, hit go. And then if in 6 months I need to do another one, I got a singular use jig for these. And this is great, especially if you have like multi-layer cuts where you need to cut from one side first, and then index so you can cut the other side. This is a great way. Just take that outside shape and cut a plug, and then you can put whatever files you need there.
That is very cool.
So that's that one.
Love it. All right, now Workstation.
Now we're Workstation.
Pick crew.
Take this. Yeah, it's a lot of, I was like, we're doing pretty good though, Jake. I didn't know how we're going to be doing on time, but it's looking pretty good. And the screws are right beside you there. Okay, so this is the last setup we have. Pretty exciting one, actually. If you have been around for a while, we have these foam cutouts. And years ago, we built a little jig so you can, cut these over and over quite easily, especially if you have multiple and you have different files set up. And I wanted to talk about kind of basically a setup that we saw from the community members that's pretty rad, which is essentially going to utilize... Oh, I just lost my ears. Hold on. Is essentially taking that jig that we designed and making it on a really thin sheet, okay? And why we do this is Jake's going to kind of assemble the workstation and put the larger shelf on after we get it screwed down.
Proper screw down.
And we're going to basically use this to cover up Workstation's tape to give us alignment for cutting these foams over and over, because basically the foam is going to fit exactly in this little spot. And one of the great things about Workstation is really good at getting your material up to the right height. And once we get that installed, I'll show you. And this is just kind of a proof of concept. It's not the full thing we saw online, but it should get your brain thinking. Okay. Now the beauty of Origin, right? We always want tape on the same surface. So if we go to this overhead cam or the corner cam, basically this jig is going to cover up all the tape for Workstation. And so when we put our foam in, and that would be like this, maybe a little tight. We'll put our foam in and just align the foam exactly where it needs to be and bring everything up to the right height. And then now we would have essentially the ability to put Origin here, have the upgrade kit support it, and we would join that workspace. We'd have all our files in the right spot. We can remove the foam, put new files in, and essentially we're just making sure we're covering up all that tape so it doesn't get confused about what workspace it's in. So that's another kind of interesting one where it's not just a single use, but kind of a fixture for alignment, but we're utilizing Workstation's leveling features to get the material to the right spot.
So cool. Ready for foam production.
I think that's it. I know it's a lot. It was called Advanced BenchPilot Applications, and it was kind of advanced show. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, we're going to Q&A now. And as always, we'll see you on the community forum, and see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks for watching.